Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new here, my name is Pip and I'm a North East family vlogger, and I make all sorts of videos. I do lots of vlogging out and about, lots of hauls, speed cleaning, but today is something a little bit different. Today's video I'm going to be talking about my daughter's speech therapy. I thought it would be useful to talk about the whole process from start to finish, so from the initial visit to the GP to discuss the issue to where we are at today. And I thought this would be useful for those parents who have a few concerns about their little one's speech or who are about to start the speech therapy process. So my daughter Izzy is currently 4.5 and I noticed an issue with her speech around the age of 3. Basically, I was the only person who could understand what she was saying, so other family members, friends, her little friends were just not getting what she was saying at all. And there were certain sounds that she was really struggling to say. She just couldn't say them at all. So I went to visit my GP and we were initially directed to our local ear, nose and throat department to have Izzy's ears checked. That appointment in itself took about maybe 4 or 5 months to come through. So we had her hearing checked and it came back that she had glue ear in both ears. She's had numerous ear infections since she was little, more or less one after the other. So it wasn't really any surprise to see that she had glue ear, and it also came back to say that she was slightly deaf in her left ear. However, the consultant didn't seem to think that that was connected with the way she was speaking, as bizarre as that sounds. So we were then told to go back to the GP and ask to be referred to speech therapy. So that is what we did, and we waited another, it must have been 6 months or so, to get the appointment through from the speech therapist. And the first appointment is an assessment, and the speech therapist sits down with Izzy and goes through lots of different pictures and gets Izzy to say what she sees in the picture, and then she makes a note of the sounds that she has and the sounds that she doesn't have, and the sounds that she will use instead of another sound. So for example, for cat she would say tat, for giraffe she would say giraffe, and for sun she would say dun, sink she would say dink. So we decided that the main problem sound that Izzy was facing at the minute was the S sound. This is a sound that she should have had by the age of 3.5 to 4, so she was a little bit delayed, so we decided we're going to concentrate on the S sound first. During the first session we worked on a distinction between a D sound and a S sound, because Izzy was replacing this with a D. So for example, instead of sun she'd say done. We needed to make her understand that there was a difference between the two sounds. So the speech therapist would say, for example, sun, and show her a picture of the sun, and Izzy would have to put it either on a D pile or a S pile. So we have these two piles, one for D. So for D, the therapist would say D D D D D for drill. That's the D sound. And for S, it would be Sammy snake. So Izzy would have to listen to the sound that the therapist was making for the word. So sun, which sound does that belong to? And Izzy would have to choose between the two. And she quite quickly got that. So we then moved on to making silly sounds. So these are the silly sounds, part of the silly sounds. So there's R, ow, or, oi, I, ear, ooh, and E. So what the therapist got Izzy to do was put this on the table. So we'd have S, we'd have a gap, and then we'd have R. So Izzy put her hand in the middle, and the therapist said to Izzy, I want you to do this 4 times. You need to say S with a gap, and then R, S, R, S, R, S, R. So once she'd got the hang of that, we then put them close together, and the therapist put Izzy's finger, it should be that way around, shouldn't it? Put Izzy's finger underneath the S sound, and she said to Izzy, see if you can do this as quick as you can. Saw, saw, saw. And it took her a while, but she got it. She did really, really well. So we were just so impressed that by the end of the session, she was saying saw, soy, see, sigh. And yeah, it was amazing. Could not believe it. The next session, Izzy really struggled. I think there were a few reasons why. I think she was tired. It was an afternoon appointment as well. Her concentration wasn't quite there, and she just couldn't get it. The things that we'd done the week before, she couldn't do it. The distinctions she was doing fine, so she was sorting the S's and the D's, but when it came to doing this little exercise again, the S, R, couldn't do it. And she was looking at me, and I could see she was getting herself worked up and upset, and she said, Mum, can I have a drink please? And I knew that she'd had enough. So the therapist said, let's introduce a H sound between the S and the R. So S, ha, S, ha, as that sort of helps the transition between the S sound and the R sound. However, because we hadn't done this a week before, Izzy was getting really confused, and she sort of reverted back to saying s, da, when we were trying to do it quickly. So she'd go s, da, she just couldn't get it with the H sound. So the next technique that the therapist used was to do it slowly. So the idea with this technique is that she sort of runs out of breath with the S sound, so she can't put in a D before she says R. So for example, what she'd got Izzy to do was put a finger underneath here and slowly go sa, and she got her to do it quite a few times, and she did it with all the sounds, and she was getting it. Towards the end, she was getting it. And also, it's worth mentioning that there's a lot of play involved in these techniques that the therapist's using. And at the end of every session, Izzy got to play a game of a choice, like Pop-Up Pirates or something with a fishing rod. So it makes it fun. It's not just a full hour of concentration and working really hard, and she also got rewarded with stickers and things like that at the end. So Izzy knew if she did really good concentrating, she would get a sticker. So yeah, it's all sort of fun and play, and getting the techniques to be not just sit down boring, you must do this. It is fun. So at the end of the second session, she was getting it. It was a struggle at the beginning, but towards the end she got it, which was good. And we were given some homework to do as well, so to practice this at home. And the week before, I should mention that Izzy did not want to do it. I tried to sit down with her, she was just getting really frustrated. But after the second session, Izzy started to do a bit of role play at home. So she was a speech therapist, and me and my husband Anthony were the children at the speech therapy session, and she would set it all up and get us to say these, but of course we were getting her to say them as well. So we did lots of practicing, lots of role play, and on the third session, I'll show you the pictures, the therapist got her pictures out just to see what she could and couldn't say of these pictures. And the first picture she showed her was the sun, and Izzy, the therapist said, "What's this?" And Izzy said, "Sun." I could not, we looked at each other, I could not believe it. And then she picked up the next one, seal. And she just went through the whole pile and said them all without any mistakes, without saying deal or done or dink or dope. She just said them. So something in her brain had clicked and she'd got it, and it was just amazing to see. It was brilliant. And that week, when we were out with friends, I would say to Izzy, what's that in the sky? Sun. And all of our friends were like, it's amazing. Just after such a short period of time, she can now say it. It definitely doesn't, even now, it doesn't come naturally to her. She has to think about making the shape with her mouth and saying this sound. But it was just amazing, amazing. If you've got a child with a speech issue, for them just to go from not being able to say a word at all to being able to say it, it was just fantastic. Yeah, so we were just over the moon, over the moon. So sessions 4 and 5, we had 5 sessions in total, were all about trying to get the S sound to come naturally. So we'd play games like pairs, where she'd have to pick 2 different S pictures, so say sun and soap, and she'd have to say sun, soap, or Santa, sink. And it's getting her to say 2 S words together, which is a bit more difficult than saying 1 S word by itself. Or another technique was she had this little fishing rod, and we had paper clips on all of the S pictures, and they were turned upside down, and she had to fish and pick a picture, and then she'd have to say that word. Another one was silly soup. So again, we'd turn the pictures over and she'd have to pick 2 pictures, and she'd have to make a little sentence about those 2 pictures. So for example, sand and Santa. So you could say Santa has been walking on the sand. And it's getting her to use the S sounds just in like a normal conversation, or just pick 1 picture, which could be sink, and Izzy would say, I wash my hands in the sink at nursery. So yeah, lots of different techniques, but lots of game playing as well to keep it fun. So that's what we did in sessions 4 and 5. And now the S sound is slowly beginning to become a little bit more natural for her to say. I can see she's not having to think about it as much. She's not, a couple of weeks ago for sun, she'd say sun, so she'd linger on the S sound, but now it's just sun. So I'm just so proud of her, and it's amazing how quickly that I can see the change, and even just after 3 weeks it's just amazing. So the next steps to improve her natural pronunciation of the S sound are to continue doing what we're doing. We've been given lots of resources to use at home. So for example, we've been given these pictures here that we can use for pairs. We can do snap, we can do put them into a bag and pull them out and tell me something about that picture. Also 5-minute talking time. So for example, if we're walking to the bus stop or if we're walking to nursery, prompt conversations with words that have the S sound. So, isn't it a lovely sunny day today? What do you think that yellow ball is in the sky? What's that called? Or can you tell me 3 girls' names that begin with S? What do you think we should have for tea? Would you like sausages? Or you tell me, what should we have for tea today? Something beginning with S, this sound. So just 5 minutes every now and again, just to try and improve the ease with the way that she says the S sound, so it's not, she doesn't have to think about it, it just comes naturally. We have one more appointment with our speech therapist, and that is to form an action plan for the other sounds that she can't currently say. But I think now that we've got the resources and now that I know the techniques to use, I think it'll be a lot easier for me to do that myself at home. I don't think we're going to get any more sessions one-to-one with the speech therapist. The sounds K and G are, she's not supposed to have them. Well, she can have them at this age, but it's called an immaturity. So she'll get them sort of between the age of 4.5 and 5, which is where she's coming to now. But if she still has problems sort of 5+, if she's still struggling to say the k and the g, I've been told that I can phone up the speech therapist and book some more sessions. So we're going to have a meeting on Monday just to discuss the action plan, and I think what we'll probably decide to do is for me to work on the k and the g with the resources I've got at home, which is absolutely fine with me. So I hope you've found this video helpful. The process of getting an appointment for speech therapy is quite lengthy. I would say if you've got concerns for your little one now, go and see your GP, because you're going to have to wait at least 9 months plus. Well, if you live in North Tyneside or the Tyne and Wear area, that's the case for us here. It might be a lot quicker where you live, but it is a bit of a lengthy process. But I'm so glad that we've gone through the process, and our speech therapist is absolutely lovely. Izzy thoroughly enjoys going. She sees it as a fun activity to do, and yeah, I'm absolutely over the moon with the results we've got so far with Izzy. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos from me, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.